we have Michael Spasiano.
I had people offering me steroids at 17, and a couple of them were like, bro, you don't need that shit. Like, don't listen to them. Bro, I could only imagine the damage I would have done to myself if I started taking that shit at 17. But a lot of people think if you say something, it directly pertains to them. If you say this was my experience on Trend, they're like, oh, well, that wasn't my experience, so you must have been getting fake shit. Everyone reacts differently. I'm one day out from my second show, and he goes, I wish I could give you a muffin, but you're fat and would spill over. I go, Kyle, you serious? He goes, I don't know, we'll find out. And then he starts giving me candy and shit. I was like, okay. Craziest thing I probably ever heard was like gram of test, gram of Trend, gram of Primo. Then they had orals in there. I was like, holy shit, bro. Like, you're pinning like a full 3cc syringe. Like, that's nuts.
I really do think that it's now just how important diet, training, sleep, and all these things are. Because in today's society, kids are really...
I had a kid come up to me in New Jersey saying that he was taking... I was like, damn, bro, like that's like that kid has no idea that his dick's done growing. His balls are gonna shrivel up. Bro, you're 14. You don't know what the you're doing with. You're literally going through puberty. I will be giving away my Hummer if I don't get in.
What? What's one thing you wish you could change in the fitness industry?
This is gonna sound super selfish.
Before starting this podcast, I just wanted to say that ideating steroids for a full show is not widely accepted because it discounts the real work, which is the backbone of this sport. And unfortunately spreads that an unsafe chemical solution is all you need for results. Both of these are antithetical to society's understanding of the sport. And while there will always be some that claim that PEDs are all you need, I would like to deliver an honest message of what is required for achieving top performance, as well as the dangers associated with this route. I received this comment from a user named Nightscarens. But just as a rock climber, the athletes undergoing this path in the sport are willing to put their life on the line for their passion. Just the danger between the two sports is different. Luckily, we do have safety nets in the sport, such as organ imaging and regular blood work. But that doesn't change the high risk one must accept in taking on this competitive lifestyle.
He just downloaded my video that has like over 115 million views now. And just saw it was popping off at like 80 mil, saved it directly from Instagram, like with my fucking water tag from Instagram on it, and just reposted it on his page to get views. And it got like 2 million views. And I'm like, Greg, like, you're such a scumbag.
Greg's a funny guy.
Yeah.
At least he admits he does it for the content.
You see the Reddit video of him fucking twerking on his girl? I gotta show you after. It's funny as fuck. If he ever talks shit about you again, just fucking put it on your story. I'd be like, Greg, shut up.
I mean, we're cordial.
Yeah.
You know, like the fact that he made a video on the podcast, I literally don't care.
Yeah.
I just know that he does it for his work, so I don't take it personally.
He does it solely for that shit though. He does it solely for like clout and views. He doesn't care about like if it affects you. He does the same shit to Kyle.
I saw the videos, but I just didn't really feel like putting my energy.
I don't watch any fitness content anymore, bro. I just can't. I live it. Like, I don't want to watch it. Exactly. You know, like I don't want to see someone else bench press. Like, I don't bench press, so I don't want to watch someone else bench press. But I don't know. That's how I look at it.
I'll watch a couple of remain. Wow, holy shit. My brain's fried.
Who?
Maybe I should just not do podcasts on prep.
Well, dude, you're like fucking 4% body fat. I'm surprised you're able to talk. When I was 4% body fat, I slept all day. All day. Kyle would be like, you need 10,000 steps, 70 minutes fasted cardio. And on rest days with like no, like rest days were no carb, there was like 800 calories, just straight protein and like vegetables. So it'd be like egg whites with an egg, asparagus, then chicken and asparagus, chicken avocado and asparagus, and then beef and asparagus. Like that was it.
You had a lot of asparagus. What the fuck?
Bro, I was having like,
Jesus Christ.
I was having like,
your brains out.
My piss was orange.
Smelly was that shit.
Disgusting. But I fucking would down asparagus. Like, cause Kyle was like, you can have 3 cucumbers a day with cinnamon and stevia. He came over one time, he goes, bro, what the fuck? I said some stevia, not half a jar of fucking stevia. He goes, 1 pack per cucumber, dog. I was putting like 3 packs of stevia on each cucumber, having like 1 with each meal. But yeah, I would just sleep all day. Like I would literally do my 70 minutes of cardio, take my 10,000 steps, eat nothing and rest. And then I would just sleep all day. So I'm surprised you can even talk. Like I would start mumbling like, probably sounded like I was, what's his name? Christopher Reeves. You know who that is?
Who's that?
He's Superman, the old Superman guy that got paralyzed. Eminem just wrote a song about him, like dissing him and shit, which was crazy.
Why?
I don't know. He just hated him. He was a quadriplegic and Eminem just went in. He was like,
poor guy.
He made a dance move. He was like, everybody do the Christopher Reeves. And it's like, he can't dance. Bro, we're listening to this song in the car, and I'm like, there's no way Eminem just went in on a fucking quadriplegic. Yeah, but yeah, it was funny.
That's fine. There's got to be something personal there.
Bro, probably something a little personal. Like maybe before Christopher Reeves was paralyzed, like he fucked Eminem's daughter or something.
Wonder what's going on with Drake still.
Oh, but
He's doing okay.
Dog, I'm not going to lie. He definitely leaked himself. Just like he was like whipping his slinky around. Did you see that shit? I was like,
I didn't watch it. I know of it.
Bro, someone sent me that shit. They were like, yo, look at this. It was like one of those fake links where it's like, look at this Instagram reel and it's like, you know, restaurants to eat at. Mm-hmm. And then you click it and it's just fucking Drake naked. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Dog.
Okay.
Enough said. My silence speaks volume.
Wait, so why did Kyle give you this much asparagus? I don't have nearly that much asparagus in mine.
Oh, he just said 115 grams or 150 grams of like a vegetable or greens and asparagus. I just didn't want broccoli.
Oh, you chose asparagus.
I just obsessed over it. I would steal it from Kroger every day. I would get the big fat skewers, like the ones that are like fucking as thick as your finger or bigger. Mm-hmm. And I would air fry those bitches with a little bit of seasoning. And then Kyle like cut seasoning. It was like salt only and not that much, you fucking fat piece of shit. It's word for word what Kyle would say. Bro, I'm one day out from my second show and he goes, I wish I could give you a muffin, but you're fucking fat and would spill over. And I go, Kyle, are you serious? I go, Kyle, are you serious? He goes, I don't know. We'll find out. And then he starts giving me candy and shit. I was like, okay, I'm good.
That's hilarious.
Bro, he literally checks my check-in and go, you're still fat. I'm like, Kyle, I'm one day out, like the leanest I've ever been. Like I have zero fat left on my body and you're still like fucking shooting shots at me. I
love it.
And then 2 days later, he's like, fuck, you're fat. And I'm like, Kyle, I'm literally like 3 pounds up from stage. He goes, yeah, 3 pounds of fucking fat. Bro, I love Kyle though. Like I wouldn't, I say it all the time. Like I wouldn't have been able to make it through prep without Kyle or my homie Kieran.
Yeah. I feel
Because like, I don't know what it is for you, but I don't know if you're like food driven, but I'm like a fucking dog. Like if you reward me with food, shit, I'll do almost anything. And
I'm obsessed.
I'm obsessed with food.
I'm a foodie. I started bodybuilding because I was a fat ass.
Same. I started bodybuilding because I was like, oh, if I have more muscle. I remember somebody told me that every pound of muscle you gain, you can eat 17 calories more. And I was like, oh shit. So if I gain 100 pounds of muscle, I can eat 1,700 calories more a day. Like that's lit. And I literally went from like the lightest I ever was like 160. Yeah. And the highest I ever was like 245. So that's almost 100 pounds. It's 80 pounds. I was like, damn, I can
the highest you've ever been, but this was a different body fat.
Yeah, I was fat as fuck, bro. Are you kidding
me?
Not
technically.
No, not technically. I probably gained like 60 pounds of muscle. Like I would have been the same body fat percentage at like 220 that I was at 160. So 60 pounds ish of tissue, water,
that's
whatever.
That's a lot, dude.
I mean, yeah, I was also 5'10", and then I grew to 6'1.5", 16.
Okay, so okay.
Well, but still, like you're bigger. So I was like, oh, I can gain, I can gain muscle and
it does
eat more food.
Great.
Yeah, but then I fucked my metabolism up by not eating more food. So I can't really do that. But yeah, that's why I started working out too. That and to get women, because I was like convinced that if I had muscles, I could get girls. And then I went to college and I was like, damn, muscles don't really get you girls. It just gets you a lot of compliments from guys.
There's some guys who just don't give a fuck about it, but there is without a doubt that there even is just like a little bit of a sprinkle of like the reason that some guys started working out is
I feel like anyone that tells
a little influence.
Dog, anyone that tells you, oh, I don't work out because of girls. If there were no women on the planet, I would be fat. I would be a power lifter, bro. I would be strong as shit, but I wouldn't care about having abs.
Yeah.
The only reason you want abs is because women find them attractive. If you're surrounded by a bunch of guys and you're a straight guy and there's no women on the planet, so you're not trying to fuck anything, you want to be bigger than everyone else. But if there's women around, you want abs.
I still do it for the homies though.
Yeah, but like
maybe not the abs, but the muscles.
Yeah. But at the same time, big traps.
Yeah. Maybe glute spreads.
But I'm saying, okay, you remove social media from it completely. Like the world goes on, but like we're back to like primal civilization, not in modern day where we make money based on our bodies. I'm talking like you're a hunter-gatherer type dude. You don't really care if you have abs. There's no women around. Like there's no women. It's just a bunch of men living in a prehistoric caveman society. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't need abs.
No, exactly. Abs aren't fucking.
But you put women there.
They're not like having aesthetic abs is not functional.
Yeah, I mean, bro.
You need a little body fat,
a little bit of
extra
chunk.
body fat for some
Yeah.
some nice sustainable energy.
Like enough to pinch, but not enough to grab. I think that's a good way to explain it. You want to have just enough to pinch, but not enough to grab. Like if you can grab your gut, you should probably lose a few pounds. Right. But if you can just pinch it, that's good.
But then we have, our girlfriends saying that they want us to have body fat percentage anyways.
Yeah, that which also was
fat.
kind of aggravating for me. Because I'd be like, I'm
Do
literally.
you think they're lying? Do you think they think they want it, but they don't?
I think women are attracted to you when you're lean and you have abs and you look athletic, not massive bodybuilder all the time. Like a lot of women, it kind of puts us in this weird hole of like, oh, you're too big for most women that like don't go to the gym and shit. But like the average girl would want like, decent abs, decent shape, athletic. But when you start dating them, I feel like they kind of let it slide a little bit. Because in their mind, if they get comfortable and kind of slack off and they don't look as good as they used to, if you still look as good as you did when they met, they're like, oh, he's gonna leave me. Because I feel like there's a comfortability factor in a relationship. Where like, I know myself in a relationship versus myself out of a relationship, significantly more dialed in off a relationship. The second you introduce a girl into the thing, it's like, oh, I don't really post on YouTube as much because she wanted to go do this, X, Y, and Z. We're traveling. I don't want to put my I don't want to put my love life on social media. So that thing suffers. And then it's, I eat clean, but she wants to go to dinner and I'm only with her for, however many weeks out of the year or weeks out of the month, if you're doing distance or whatever, like I had done in the past. So I'm going to go get the dinner with her because, I want her to feel appreciated.
Yeah.
Or I'm not going to go to the gym because she wants to go do X, Y, and Z. Like I can go to the gym when I get back so I can slack off. And the biggest problem is when women want to fuck first thing in the morning, I do nothing for the rest of the day. It's like you suck my life force out of me through my dick and I don't want to do anything.
Take some P5P and then drink some caffeine. You might feel a little better though.
What's P5P?
P5P, activated vitamin B6. Okay. You take it, increases the dopamine in your brain, which decreases the prolactin.
Okay.
And your prolactin increases after you have sex and you ejaculate.
Oh wow.
And prolactin makes you
So is that
lazy.
why I feel like I've wasted my life?
Probably.
Like I'll nut and I'm like,
yeah, your drive goes down.
What am I doing here,
Your
man?
drive 100% goes down.
Yeah. I guess.
Might help a little bit.
Bro, I was thinking about documenting like semen retention and shit on like YouTube and Instagram for like trying, like I would caption it like
documenting semen retention,
trying not to jizz for 30 days. Day 1. Next day, like, all right, guys, we're starting over. Like, I know I'm going to make it farther this time. Like, day 3, fuck, guys, I'm fucked up again.
Yeah, you document the fuck ups too.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I don't think I would fuck up.
Yeah, you could probably get some money.
Probably.
Like what we were talking about earlier.
Oh.
The OnlyFans girls.
Bro.
Making $250,000 per month.
Dude. Jesus Christ. Some of the numbers I've heard make me want to cut my dick off, get a fucking vagina, and start posting nudes.
Okay.
There's a market for anything, man. Fucking trans OnlyFans. I'd start a separate website. Oh, fuck. That'd be fucked up.
Well, anyways, I guess that means I'm a little bit lucky though in terms of the relationship aspect, because I think you're pretty on point for maybe a lot of them, but I mean the relationships vary, right? Like not every relationship is going to have, like you were saying, for example, not wanting to post love life on social media, so you're posting less.
Yeah.
Also going out to dinner and like she wants to eat this food, but you want to like stay shredded, but you decide to go to dinner with her.
Yeah.
That's totally a probability, and I think it happens more often than not.
Yeah.
So,
but you guys are both into bodybuilding. We're both on prep at the same time. Are both
chose to be on prep at the same time.
Yeah,
and it actually made it a lot better.
You both do social media, so you get it. Like, I've never dated someone in the social media space, and that's the problem for me, because it's like I don't want anyone.
I never have either. This is the first time.
But do you like it better compared to dating someone out of the social media eye?
I don't think I have an opinion on that yet, but I can tell you obviously this is the best one so far.
Yeah,
in it. So
yeah,
just everything. I think I just got maybe it's just lucky, and I don't know if things will last forever. I never do, but I wanted to, so I'll put in the work anyways.
Yeah,
but everything seems to just work in tandem. Like we do all the same things, just coincidentally, and follow all the same passions. And it's cool because since we have the same drives for the same things, and we're both like each other's like exact type, at least I think as close as we can get. Mm-hmm. It's like being around her and having around motivates me more, or I've been more motivated and more driven.
Yeah.
To like become the person that I've always wanted to become. And I've already taken that a huge portion. I'm trying to explain how to say this properly, but basically, like, I've already spent most of my life becoming that person. But being with her is kind of cool because I'm like, holy shit, this got a lot easier and a lot more fun. If that makes sense.
I feel like, so I agree with you. And I think the problem, you might feel the same. The problem that I dealt with in finding a relationship is if somebody doesn't do social media, our job seems fucking fake. Like, I'd post on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. I was talking about it with Kieran earlier, where it's, how am I supposed to explain to my 65-year-old father that one of the ways I make money is just recording what I eat in a day and posting it online? It doesn't seem real. So if a girl, let's say you're talking to a girl and she has a normal job and she clocks in at 9 and gets off at 5 and she can't go do these things, and you're going on a trip somewhere and she can't come because she has to work, or you can't go to this dinner with her and her family because you have a business dinner to go to and she doesn't understand that, like, it's for a brand deal. And in her mind, you're like, what the fuck is a brand deal?
Right.
Unless you're dating someone in the space, it's hard for the person who's not there in this kind of like weird secluded world that we live in of like, how is it possible we can make this much money doing something that doesn't seem real at all to a lot of people?
Yep.
And what I've noticed is myself in relationships is if it's not someone in the industry, they won't understand. And if it is someone in the industry, it's almost like your social life is on camera, which I also don't like, because I feel like if I'm sharing everything about my relationship, I think you do a good job at hiding a lot of the parts of your relationship where a lot of it's just like still between you guys. But a trap that I don't want to fall into is like having a social media relationship where if anything happens, people are like, oh, what the fuck? What happened? What happened? And everyone's on my case about it. Like, dog, I just broke up with my chick. Why are you asking me what's going on? Like,
yeah.
Like, leave me alone, let me deal with my shit.
Yeah, I can.
If you break up with your girl,
super annoying.
Yeah,
sure.
like, not saying you, but like, let's say someone else. You break up with your girl and you get to deal with it by yourself in quiet and private, and you get to go through that yourself and reestablish like who you are and what you're dealing with. Versus you break up with someone that you dated openly on social media and they dated you openly on their social media, and you guys both have a large following where people are kind of invested vicariously in your relationship. You almost owe them an explanation of why you guys broke up, but at the same time, it's like, yo, this is my love life. Like, leave me alone. Stop asking me about it. But they're partially in it, which I don't want to fall into that trap either. And I feel like it happens so many times for people in social media where like their relationship was public, something happens, and it's who cheated, who broke up with who did something wrong. Yeah. Why did this not work out? And I don't feel like I want to justify myself in any regards.
I don't think you ever have to, though. Like, if you ever get to that place, I say literally just don't respond and don't give a fuck. Just do you, post whatever you want to post.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't take the fact away that it's going to be annoying for, a few months or something. Real quick, guys. So while I was looking at the YouTube analytics, I actually saw that 85% of you guys that watch this channel are not subscribed. And I want to ask very little of you guys. But if you enjoy this podcast, if you find value in it, then please do me this one favor and subscribe to the channel, because doing so helps me get bigger and greater guests like the guests you are listening to today. Also, this channel is not sponsored, which means only the companies that I work with, which are Young LA and Huge Supplements, are the companies that can help fund this channel by you guys using the code NILE. So code NILE gives you a discount of 15% off of Young LA, and code NILE also gives you a discount of 10% off of Huge Supplements. And if you decide to purchase anything from any of these companies, it will help immensely for me by using my code. And this way, I can travel to other guests, such as Dr. Mike Israetel next week, and also upgrade in equipment to make this podcast bigger and better for you guys.
What do you feel about like marriage? Like, how would you feel about marriage in general? Because like, I'll tell you my opinion after. Like, I want to hear yours. But yeah. What's your opinion on marriage?
I love the idea. I know that marriage rates are struggling, but I just really like the idea of like a full-hearted, sacred union with full commitment. And I've fondled with the idea of like not doing a monogamous or, legal marriage. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I've had that open relationship experience in the past. But where I'm at right now and where I see myself, it's very enticing for me.
Okay. Well, I mean, you're older than me, so I guess maybe your views changed.
They changed.
And mine will change. I'm terrified of marriage. Like, I'm terrified of the idea of getting married because, number one, like you said, like divorce rates are super high, but also I'm afraid of things being kind of held over my head, or me thinking like, oh, this bitch could take this shit from me. Like, I worked, my whole life to build up this amount, and like, I want to share it with you because I want to share it with you, not because the government's telling me to share it with you.
Right.
So I feel like my idea of traditional marriage is like, I don't think I could ever do that. I think if I'm going to get married, it's going to be another country. We go for a beautiful ceremony with close friends and family, but there's no legal documentation saying if you leave or I leave you, I owe you half and you can take my shit. Because then in the back of my mind, I'd be like, yo, she could leave me and take half my shit. I can't get fully emotionally invested with you because I'm afraid that you're going to take something from me. Or let's say I marry up, which would be fucking lit. I'll be a stay-at-home dad and do the dishes.
Marry up.
I'll marry up. Shit. You want to see me do some laundry? Find me a girl with some money. Not really. Not really. I don't know if my ego could take that shit. But
maybe if we bump up the dose of TRT, you'll feel a little different.
Bro, yeah, the HCG, man. Bump up the HCG. But I think that just that would be in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
Of like I'm afraid of so and so doing this, or just like, bro, I see so many things online, or just things in general, like things I've grown up seeing. Like, my parents have a fantastic relationship. No one's ever cheated. They were both loving parents. They were always in the picture. Yeah, they fought, but everyone fights. They both had different approaches of how you raise a kid. My mom was very, let me help, very motherly. And my father was very, if you fuck up, I'm going to kick the shit out of you and you deserve it. I'll give you a reason to cry. Like, very like foreign man way of raising a child.
Yeah.
And I loved the compatibility in that, but I'm just afraid that I won't find that anymore. Like, I don't think that women are raised the same way.
I think everybody's afraid of that. And I think it's the scariest thing. I think that was one of the biggest anxieties actually that I had, even though it was more of like an anxiety that's in the back of my mind. Because it's not like, oh God, I need to fucking find a partner right now. Like, I'm like, I still got a lot of time. There's people who don't get married till like their late 30s, even 40.
Yeah, my dad had me at 41. So, I was born when my dad was 41.
Right. And luckily we're guys, so we have even more time. But I think it's just, I would say, and I personally feel like it's normal for a majority, if not almost all people, to have that conscious anxiety.
Yeah.
That maybe they're just not going to find the perfect person that they want to find, especially because we all, I'm sure, have high standards for ourselves. We want to find that perfect partner and shit, you know what I mean? And I'm not about to go give the spiel of like, this changed for me, so you can do it. You know what I mean? I'm not about to do this shit, because you never know. Like, people have probably found that perfect partner and they were together for like 3 years and all of a sudden they're not anymore. It happens all the time.
Well, I think there's a difference between perfect partner and perfect at the time.
Exactly.
Like,
right.
I dated my ex-girlfriend for years, bro, on and off, mostly on for like 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, maybe. I don't fucking know. I lost count. And she would say things like, oh, I want to be engaged by 26. And I'm like, I don't want to fucking think about that shit until I have $10 million in my bank account. Like, I'm not putting a ring on shit till I got 10 mil. Like, I have shit I want to accomplish. If I don't accomplish these things, we're going to get divorced because I'm going to hate you for thinking that I didn't accomplish what I could have because you were in the picture or you slowed me down. Like, that was my biggest fear, is in any relationship, if I get comfortable and I don't accomplish the things that I know I'm able to accomplish, like, I know without a doubt in my fucking mind, I'm about to turn 25. By 30, I'll have 20 mil minimum 20 mil. If that doesn't happen because I started dating some chick, I'm going to hate her. And it's because I know what I'm capable of. I know what I could do. And adding you into the picture slowed me down. That's terrifying. Because then your relationship's doomed from the jump. Like, there's a saying that I love, and it's, if you sacrifice your dreams for a girl, you're sacrificing them both, because the girl's gonna fall in love with the fact that you're ambitious.
I think it's just fucking stupid to sacrifice your dreams for a girl.
But I think that guys with high ambitions and that are driven are super attractive to women, because they're like, this is everything I want. He's driven, he's ambitious, he's successful, he's working. But then you slow down because she's in the picture and it's like, he's lazy, he's not doing what he used to do, he's not doing what I fell in love with him for. And she's asking me to not do it. She's trying to put out the fire under me, when that's why you like me in the first place. And that's why I think it fails. So until I get all that shit that I want, I don't think I could be in a relationship.
No, so okay, so I agree with you, though I don't 100% agree with the way that you said that, but my perspective is that they're attracted to you working hard. They're attracted to you working towards dreams. They're attracted to you having goals and ambitions. Now, whenever you get into a relationship, unfortunately, relationships are very time consuming, right? And a relationship takes how much commitment, right?
Hours.
She's going to need your time.
Yeah, hours.
I've seen countless relationships, including my old relationship, that have ended because the man was too busy working, or the man was too busy to spend time with what she felt like she needed from the relationship. So one of the hardest things that society these days is like combating is us as men trying to figure out how to find that balance to where we can still make our woman happy, spend time with her, and at the same time continue to follow our pursuits and our dreams at the same time. It's like that balance, right? Yeah, the balance is fucking hard.
I was going to say, I don't think balance should exist until you're over the age of 30. Like, I think your 20s is the time where you need to fucking be on your shit. Like, and I went through things where like, oh, I need balance. Bro, the worst I've ever done financially, mentally, physically, and everything is when I'm trying to focus on balance. There is no balance. When you're 20s, before you're 30, bro, no balance. Like, fuck that shit. Make your money and retire. The reason why I think they sell you balance, because they used to be able to sell you work 40 hours a week for 40 years.
Huge opinion, by the way.
Oh yeah, huge opinion. Obviously, this is just my own personal opinion.
Right.
But I think they used to sell you on work 40 hours a week for 40 years and you'll retire, because that's what was attainable. Now it's work 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week for 50, 60 years, and then you get your Social Security and you can maybe kind of retire. Bro, I think your 20s, there should be, like, I'm trying my best, and like, obviously I slip up. Like, I can't say, oh, well, I listen to this flawlessly, and I go through phases, but I can't wait for the day that there's no more fucking phases, where it's only like, I'm doing my shit, I'm focusing on my grind, I'm making money doing things, because I think that your 20s are the time where you can set yourself up. You can fail and learn, and it's only failing if you don't learn. But if you can learn from mistakes that you made and bring it into your future and grind through your 20s, I can be done working by 30. Then I can do whatever the fuck I want. And I can have that balance of, love, relationship, work, whatever it is, and have passive income streams. But I feel like if I miss out on that opportunity now because I wanted balance, I'm going to look back on it and be like, damn, like, why did I have a kid at 28? Damn, why did I get engaged at 28? Fuck, man, like, why did I do this? Why did I do this? Where I should have said, I'm going to put this off till later so I can truly enjoy it later, and not think, oh, I got to enjoy this now. Like, delayed gratitude is something I've been really trying to work on, especially maybe since the last podcast. People can kind of see that
gratification.
Delayed gratification, not gratitude. But like, you work really hard for something. Okay, if I told you, hey, I'm going to give you $1 million right now, versus, hey, you're going to work really hard for a year, but you're going to get $1 million. I would rather work really hard for a year and get the $1 million, because I'm learning skills, I'm adapting to my environment, I'm actually gaining value, and I earned it. It's almost like when you blow up on social media overnight. Like, it happened to me. I had 700,000 followers on TikTok in fucking 3 months. And then it was taken away from me. And then I really started like, this is what I got to do. I got to get my shit back. I got to do these things. I got to do this. And I don't even have 700K on TikTok now. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't. But back then, it was almost like it was given to me overnight, and I didn't truly understand how grateful I should have been for it. And I wasn't like, wow, I worked for this. I got it because I worked hard. It was almost like, wow, this is coming so fast. This is easy, yada, yada, yada. Where it's the same thing. If I give you $1 million versus you earning $1 million, you're going to have a completely different respect for it, in my mind. So I feel like if I work really hard in my 20s and get to my 30s and I've earned these things, I unlock the ability to be grateful for a relationship that I'm in, instead of feeling like I'm forced to get there by a certain timeline that people are setting up.
Right. I 100% agree with that perspective. I just don't totally agree with just 20s and then in your 30s. Yeah. Because it changes per person.
Yeah. It's person to person case is different. Case. I'm talking on a personal timeline. Experience. Like, I think my personal timeline, personal experience, I can do these things by 30. Even if I do it by 35 or 40, it's still better than doing it by 65. Like, what good? I'm going to be straight up. What good is having 10 mil if you're 65? I'd rather have 5 mil at 30 than 50 mil at 65, because I'm fat. Maybe even if I'm not fat, I'm old, my dick doesn't work, and 18 to 25-year-old bitches don't want to fuck me. But if I'm 35 with half of that, I'm in good shape. I'm still, I'm there. I'm doing my shit. And those the hot women that you want now that don't want you because they're going for the older guys with money that are successful, now want you. Like, I said it all the time. And people said I was fucked up. I made a TikTok about it. They're like, that's such a negative thing. That's misogynist. suck my balls if I'm being straight up. Like, shut up. You have no idea where you're speaking from. And maybe I don't. Maybe this is my own personal opinion. But I think in your late teens and early 20s, even into your mid 20s, you shouldn't focus on having a relationship, because we're constantly in the mindset of like, oh, I need to chase this girl. I need to chase this girl. I need to chase this girl who's, I'm 24. Let's say I want to get with girls that are like 19 to 25, like in that range. They're young, like they're in college, they're doing their thing, they're popping their shit online, whatever it is. They're some hot model. Bro, that chick wants to fuck the 45-year-old, 30 to 45-year-old that has a boat and a company and a dope house and crazy cars. But the difference between me and him is like, he's older than me, dog. He has 15 years of experience on top of me. And when I get there, those girls are just gonna be replaced by the new generation, bro. The earth makes more hot young women. And if you focus on them now, you're not gonna be able to get them when you're older, because you spent all of your time thinking about how can I get it now? And it's the same thing that goes back into like the delayed gratification, or I get there when I'm older, and I know it will come as long as I work for it. But if I focus on it now, it might never come. That's what I think personally, which is why I don't want to kind of get into relationships. Right. But I felt like I was on coke, and I don't do drugs.
I was wondering about that.
I don't do drugs, dog. You know what it is? It's that P5P, man. Use his code to get some.
There's no code for P5P, but
okay.
Anyways, guys.
Yeah, next topic.
That brings us to we have the realist comedian in the fitness industry. So don't take this so seriously.
Yeah, true.
Michael Spasiano.
This is all my personal opinions.
Yeah, the fat Italian.
Yeah, fat, the chunky, bro. Like I said, pinch, not chunk, not grab. I can grab right now.
Your chest looks massive still, bro.
Thanks, dog. I hit it twice in the last 2 months.
You yourself fat, but you look fine. You look great.
Thanks, bro. As long as I have a shirt on. Just don't make me take it off.
But before you continue, you're discussing how you said quite a bit, so I'm trying to remember what to say.
My bad.
I think it was something along the line.
They can put it in like 0.5 speed.
Talking about like girls and then getting older. I think my input in there, so people aren't misunderstood, so this isn't misunderstood, is I think that is like, I think that's a good way to look at just what happens.
Yeah.
Because there is kind of a reality in that.
Yeah.
In like, if you are actually spending your time chasing women in your 20s, instead of using a lot of that time towards your goals, you're probably going to be hurting yourself in the long run. But in the end, like, if you're working towards your ambition and you're working hard and things, then the women are going to come.
Yeah, and I agree.
Like, there's just like, if you're chasing, in my personal opinion, is if you're actually out there chasing women or chasing your partner, it's honestly going to probably be harder.
Yeah.
It's not going to be as easy as if you literally just focus on yourself, built yourself up to be who you wanted to be. And I promise that people will come.
Yeah.
Well, once you've already made the progress, once you've already become this person that has confidence, that can say and back up what you say that you are, or who you say you are.
And I'm still trying to, like I said, I'm still trying to turn into the person that can back up those claims.
Yeah.
Because, I make mistakes, I slip up, and that's fine as long as you can kind of correct it. But if you stay in that slip up, that's when you fail. And there's an old guy, he kind of looks like me, but like old. He's got glasses and like long hair. And he's standing in a grocery store and he says, don't go grocery shopping when you're hungry. You always make the wrong choices. And he's not talking about food, although it kind of like applies to us because of food. If you go looking for a girl when you're not the man you want to be, you're going to find the wrong girl. Like if you go, like, I'm sure you're in a position right now where you're significantly happier with who you are and what you're becoming now versus where you were 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And how old are you?
I am older.
Age range, if you don't want to say the number. I'm 24.
Late 20s.
Okay. So you're older than me.
I'm a bit older.
Let's say you're 3 years older than me.
Older.
Let's say you're 3 years older than me. Let's just say, right?
Yeah.
You're 3 years in an advanced position, technically by age, than I am. So maybe I have 3 more years to learn and change my opinion. Or maybe I have 3 more years to turn into the person that I want to be and live the things that I'm saying and trying to become. And I think that it's not an overnight change, but I truly believe in manifestation and believing what you say. And I think that your words hold a lot of power. And if people watch the last podcast, this is before I came into the understanding of this, where I was saying things like, I feel a little depressed and I feel like I made this mistake and this mistake, but I wasn't changing who I was when I made that mistake. Now I'm changing the person I am into the person that I want to become.
Because you're learning from it.
And because I'm learning from my past, and I'm learning from the people around me. And I stopped surrounding myself with people that were bad influences or people that weren't telling me things that I should hear. Mm-hmm. For example, my best friend, like an older brother with me, mentor, he'll text me, bro, you haven't posted on Instagram in 3 days. And instead of giving him some long typed up response of like, oh, bro, you don't understand, things have been hard, I just said, okay. And he understands that okay means I'm not finna hit you with a bunch of bullshit responses. You're right, I'm gonna go post. But I don't have to say anything more than okay. Because he's telling me from a place of, I wanna see you do better. It's very hard to find people that wanna see you do better than themselves, especially in social media. Because it's almost like there's a borderline competition for a lot of people. And I'm not gonna get texted by, let's say, 100 out of the people that I might know or be friends with. One of them is gonna text me like, dog, you haven't posted on Instagram in 3 days. Like, are you dead in your room? Like, do I gotta come get you? Or like, what's going on? I feel like it's very rare to see that. And I stopped surrounding myself with people that I felt like weren't helping me improve in life and replaced it with people that I know. It's a much smaller circle, but it's people that wanna see me do well and wanna see me improve. And once I started living the advice that they gave me, I started to become a better person. So like I said, I'm still learning and I'm still turning into the person that I wanna become. And these things don't happen overnight, but you have to live and speak the words that you wanna be in order to become that. I can't just flip a switch overnight and be like, hey, I'm the best person in the world.
Right.
But if you work towards it every day and be the best version of yourself, you'll get there eventually. And then 5 years from now, you'll say, hey, who's my role model? Me 5 years from now. And then me 5 years from now. So you never get there, but you're constantly getting better. Because if you're like, oh, I'm in the best position I've ever been in, I can stop. Why would you stop?
Yeah. So that's something that I liked from the last podcast, and I think there was a little bit of misunderstandings. At least most people, I think, understood, but there was always there's obviously those few comments that were like, "Oh, like this guy didn't do his research. He obviously had no clue what he's doing."
Yeah,
and this is all truth, but you're just explaining your story. I think it was more of like the terms that you were using were very generalized, as in, like, for example, saying like people don't tell you this or people don't tell you that. But these are all in your life and in your view and your perspective and what you experienced. Unfortunately, you were surrounded by people who didn't, people who literally only told you like gear will make you huge, you should do this for social media, etc. And so I think that's why this is a really value experience, and I really value you coming on podcasts and talking about this shit, is because you are a prime example of the fact that what a lot of people don't realize, because we don't see the rest of the world from our eyes in person, we're just seeing what we see on social media. There are way more kids that are just being influenced to take steroids without having any awareness or knowledge over not just the repercussions, but over how much they may even value, like how much they value what is going to happen to them later on versus what they're trying to gain right now. And I think there's just there is a lot of, I think there's a lot of like fight back now in the internet, where I think just gear is becoming a more prevalent thing to talk about, especially this year than ever.
I think it just gets views. And I think that, like, bro, if you go back to like 2022.
You're just validating what I'm saying right now.
Yeah.
But basically, it's a lot more prevalent now than it was, say, 3-4 years ago.
Absolutely.
And that's when you started your gear experience. There's a lot of other guys that can say the same thing about 10 years ago, where their gear experience is because, like, whatever they chose to do on gear was because they read it through fucking forums, like bodybuilding forums or Reddit forums or whatever fucking forums.
Or some dude at the gym.
The worst part is you don't even know these fucking people on these forums.
Bro.
These people are literally anonymous. And I would much rather trust the people that I know, even if I don't know at the time that they're bad influences, versus people that I don't know at all. And that's just a natural human being thing. That's just fucking natural. So, like, in the end, I think we all should do a lot more research before we ever do anything. But it's really easy to be influenced by people that you're close to or people that you know. And that's one of the biggest problems, I think, here.
I think steroids themselves are an experience thing, where you can do one cycle and think that you know a lot because you did it yourself, but you don't understand how it affects other people because you're not that person. And I think that each person is literally an individual case study when it comes to steroids. Like, I know people that can fucking rip tren. Like, I'm talking like a gram, no effect. they're just a fucking
like no negative mental effect.
No negative mental effect. They don't get acne. They don't become a fucking absolute piece of shit like Tren makes a lot of people. And then I know people that can take fucking 50 Tren, and I'm just like, I don't want to be around you at all. Like, please get away from me, you narcissistic piece of shit. Like, there's a huge discrepancy.
Tokyo said that 80 milligrams of Tren made him feel like dog shit.
And I think it's person to person. Like I said in the past, I took things based off what other people were telling me from their own experiences. And like, I'm someone that needs to learn from their own mistakes. Kieran can tell me, hey bro, don't shave your head. I shaved my head and I hated it. He can tell me, bro, don't move to LA. And like I told you before, bro, I haven't really liked it here. And I'm already moving to where he said probably I would like better.
That makes me fucking sad.
No, bro, I'll come back. Like we're running episode 3. But I think that a lot of people struggle in the same thing that I struggle from is you can't listen to someone else. You need to fuck up yourself. Like, bro, don't talk to that girl. She's bad news. I didn't listen. It was bad news.
Yeah.
I need to fuck up. And I learn from fuck ups.
Right.
And I think the difference is good students, bad students. I think if you were a good student, you're coachable and you can learn from other people telling you not to do things. Mm-hmm. I think that if you're a bad student, school-wise, you need to learn from your own mistakes. You kind of need to fuck up and you kind of need to have your back against the wall to actually improve in life. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how you were in school, but I was fucking shit. I didn't do any homework. I didn't pay attention. One of my teachers took finals for me. Mm-hmm. Shout out her. She was the GOAT. But I needed to fuck up myself and have my back against the wall in order to learn. Mm-hmm. Same way when I went to college and my dad gave me a little bit of money, he was like, yo, when this gone, that's on you. You figure it out. You get a job, you pay for school, whatever it is. You fail a class or you use this money up, like that's on you to figure out what it is. Bro, 3 months into this first semester, 95% of that money was gone. He gave me $5,000. It was like, this has to last you 2 semesters. It's for everything. Food, groceries, gas, trips, travel, flights back home, whatever it is, $5,000. This is what I'm giving you. Bro, I spent half of that shit probably on Chipotle. I was like, I don't want to cook. I'm going to go to Chipotle. Gas, bro. I probably need a Chipotle sponsorship. Not anymore. Their portions are small as fuck. But I needed to learn, fuck, man, I fucked up. I have to fix this. And like I was saying, some people, they might need to learn through fucking up badly with taking steroids. And other people, it's enough to just tell them, hey, man, that's not something good. Like, you shouldn't touch Tren. You shouldn't touch Primo. You shouldn't touch whatever. Like, oh, you're susceptible to your hair falling out? Don't take Primo. Oh, I'll be fine. I'll take it anyway. Then their hair starts falling out. They're like, oh, fuck, I'm bald.
Right.
But they have to learn. And then other people, it's just enough for you to tell them.
Right.
And I think that's where I grew the most, was learning from my fuck up of taking gear in the past.
It fucking sucks that you have to say something that's so like obvious and that so many people understand and know, but there's so many dumbasses on, for example, like clips, like mini clips, like reels or TikToks that will comment that literally are fucking just so ignorant, and they will assume that everybody experiences the same thing as them every time, and they will just accuse them of lying because they're not experiencing the same thing. And I'm like, dude, are you fucking like, sorry, don't mean to say that, but
whatever, bro, fucking I said it too. But I think, bro, something I learned a lot through doing business and like running my own businesses and stuff, you have to treat people like they're absolutely fucking. Because even if they're not, and they actually have some sort of substance and intelligence behind their fucking eyes, if you treat them like, they'll have a better understanding for what you're doing. But a lot of people think, number one, they're the main character in the world and everything revolves around them. So if you say something, it directly pertains to them. If you say, this was my experience on Tren, they're like, oh, well, that wasn't my experience, so you must have been getting fake shit.
Yep.
Everyone reacts differently. Also, I think that there's a lot of people, like I said, that are just fucking stupid, and they'll judge an entire 2-hour conversation on a 30-second clip. How are you supposed to get all the context from a 2-hour podcast in 30 seconds? You can't. But people can't pay it. Bro, the people that watch this podcast most likely have some sort of substance in brain cells, because the people that don't get all their information.
The people who watch this
seconds.
podcast all seem very smart,
bro,
and self-aware.
Exactly. And I think that your podcast is probably older people, because they're listening to subjects about gear and growing up and advice and things like that. So there are people looking to learn. Where people scrolling through clips, they have a 30-second attention span, if that, probably shorter than a goldfish, and they're getting all of their information from that. I can make a video right now and say the cure to cancer is turmeric. Well, maybe there was a case study 15 years ago that 1 spoonful of turmeric in, water and tea with X amount of things showed some, recession in cancer cells. But if you just watch this 30-second clip and not the 2-hour podcast where they discuss the case study, you're going to think that turmeric cures cancer. And obviously that's a fucking incredibly out there thing to state. But if you only watch the one thing, you only get 1 ounce of context.
People will only judge that.
And people will only listen to that one thing. It's the same thing where if I give you advice and it's based on a 30-second clip, you're not getting the full context from the 4-minute clip that I talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
I just, that's one of the big reasons why I started this podcast is like, I like self-awareness and I like being proactive and conscious about health. And this is all from basically me fucking up and having my own experiences myself too. And I would like to have a positive impact in the world where we have more awareness over these things so we could be safer with our bodies. And also because it's like fun, you know, it's honestly fucking fun to like biohack and fun to take care of your health and see how your biomarkers are. And that's kind of what the bodybuilding sport is deciding to do some fucking crazy risky stuff to get as fucking huge as possible, see what you can do while at the same time trying to make sure that your biomarkers are in a great place and that you're staying as relatively healthy as you possibly can. Obviously it's not healthy, but as much as you can, it's like, it's part of the game, right?
Yeah.
And I do like, I kind of struggle when I see some of these comments. I normally don't give a fuck, but I do care about the world and I do care about what happens to people. So when I see there was like this comment, for example, on one of the clips that was saying like this, like this guy is fucking lying out his ass so other people don't take Tren. Tren is God's nectar and it will literally completely change your physique. Every single bodybuilder on stage is on Tren. Like he literally commented that.
Yeah, and how many bodybuilders kill themselves?
And I'm like,
how many bodybuilders commit suicide?
You're the reason that people are getting fucked up because you can literally read any of these things in a Reddit forum and all of them are anonymous and which one do you trust? Then you have the dumbass that's saying literally the most dumb things.
Well, I mean, I could fucking jot down a list of 5 people off the top of my head. I'm not going to, that I know that were bodybuilders on heavy cycles that killed themselves or had suicidal thoughts and had to be talked down pretty much from killing themselves. You can't say like, oh, Tren's God's nectar, it won't do anything bad. If that's a 1-person case study, like there's a bunch of people that turn it around the other way. And the one thing I'll say is if you're taking tests, right? It's the same thing where when I was a kid in DARE, they'd say, oh, you know, drug awareness, resistance, education, whatever the fuck. It's funny that I remember that. It's because my DARE officer arrested me for weed. But they say weed's a gateway drug. And everyone's like, no, it's not. Weed's not a gateway. Weed is a gateway fucking drug the same way test is a gateway drug. You hop on a little bit of test, you're like, yo, how fucking nuts would I look if I added in a little mast? I'm lean right now, man. How nuts would I look if I added in 150 mast? It's the same shit where it's like, yo, I smoked a little weed, man. How do shrooms feel? What does Molly feel like? Oh shit, man, I did Adderall. What's Coke like? Let me hit the slopes with you in the bathroom, my boy. I'm skiing in July. It's a gateway drug, the same way test is. So people will say like, oh, you know, I was informed on my decision or I did my X amount of research. Like maybe you did on one thing, but every single person is different. I know that I have a somewhat addictive personality when it comes to different aspects of life. So let's say I'm focusing on self-improvement. Dog, I'm fucking autistic. I'm locked in. Oh shit. I can't wait to do this, and this. You start teaching me something, I'm like, I can only focus on this one thing. I'm autistic as shit. I don't want to turn into that with drugs. And I was with steroids. Like it was very hard for me to admit to myself that I was addicted to steroids because I would tell myself, oh, I'm not taking a lot. I wasn't taking a lot, but I knew the way that it made me feel and I was hooked on it. I went 3 weeks without taking shit. I was like, where's the test? Where's the test? I came off contest prep. You know, you still have a little bit of test in your body, but like Tren and mass and all these things were cut out. And I'm like, let me get back on cycle. Kyle, please. Kyle, bro, I can't stop. And I'm like a fucking crackhead. And it took a lot for me to sit back and be like, I'm addicted to this shit. Yeah. I need to stop.
I can see how that's a huge probability when you have an addictive personality. I think it really depends per person because everyone is born with a different level of, say, your propensity to be addicted to something, or for example, like the type of personality that you are, probably how you react to things. There's like a host of different types of combinations. Like I'm technically, according to my what is it? The DNA code that I ran, I am more calm and collected. I have this gene that's like more common in MMA fighters or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it's called. It's in my notes somewhere. And that was kind of interesting for me to hear, but it could also make sense why like I react differently to certain things. I'm not the funniest guy in the world. I'm not a comedian. I can't think of shit off the top of my head like that. But in certain situations, I'm calm and I can take certain substances fine. Also, like when jumping on, for example, like drug use, I think it's very easy for people to be susceptible to like missing those feelings.
Yeah.
But once you have years of experience and if you're someone who's self-aware, that stimulation, if you're not an incredibly addictive personality, you can learn from that and you can literally like that stimulation can go away.
Yeah.
Like I used to be addicted to kratom. Now I can literally take some kratom, take a drink of White Rabbit for a day, and then I can literally skip and not take it for 3 more weeks if I wanted to, and then take another one for a day just because I know, like, for example, I want to utilize it for this podcast or I want to utilize it for this this script that I'm writing or something, whatever, as a tool. And I think the same thing is, this is just personal experience. This is my personality. This is who I am.
Yeah, absolutely.
I felt the same thing with gear. So I don't feel the same way anymore when I jump off. Like I'm just like, oh, I need this. This is good for my health. This is also progressing my body. So every time I'm doing something now, my perspective is very positive about it and I feel great about it because it's moving my body forward in my bodybuilding career. Yeah. So jumping off, I'm like, oh, hell yeah, my blood work's going to get better, which means that my next off season, I will make more gains. I'll be healthier. I'll feel better. And then I can kill it at a show.
I think that's the beauty between person to person cases. Like, I know that I can't. You know that you can. And you know that you can utilize things in certain situations in order to be better. So if you know, hey, I don't get addicted to Tren, I can take this on my prep. It's not going to fuck me up like crazy when I'm done.
Right.
I learned that shit the hard way. I learned that the second I got off gear, I was seeing it. I look at getting off steroids, like quitting steroids was by far the hardest thing I've ever done. I broke my back and went to physical therapy for 3 years. I had reconstructive knee surgery and was again out of the gym for like 6 months, like leg wise. Not that I hate legs anyway, because I don't. But what I'm saying is you kind of, for me, I just lost my train of thought. Fuck.
I think this is the first time you've ever lost your train of thought.
This is the first time, bro. Maybe I need some kratom. But what I'm saying is, like, person to person there's something beautiful about it. Like I was saying, getting off of steroids was one of the hardest things I've ever done. Broke my back, went to physical therapy for 3 years, full knee reconstructive surgery, same thing out of the gym. When I was quitting steroids, I look at it as a bell curve where you get off and it's still kind of in your system and you're good. And every single day that there's less steroids in your body, you're looking worse and worse and worse until you kind of peak at the worst you're going to look. When I got my testosterone checked, I had 50 tests. My grandma probably has more than that. My grandma could probably get a boner and I couldn't when my shit was fucked up. And then you start to look a little bit better.
Grandma boner's crazy.
Yeah, bro. Grandma boner is fucking crazy. But you start to get a little bit better and your hormones start to recover and you can kind of recover again. But you have to go through that big hump of, fuck, I look like shit. I feel like shit. I can't function. And that was why it was so hard for me to quit gear. Because every time I would stop, I'd see myself get a little bit worse. I'm like, give it back, give it back, give it back.
Right.
And I've been off for like 8 months.
Well, I mean, I think another thing is, like, it's not even just your personality, but the fact is that it's also part of your job.
Yeah. People comment, what happened to the shreds? And I'm like, fuck you, die.
Fuck you, die. Like, it's without a doubt going to affect anybody in that place. Some people probably won't care as much, but like a lot of like your life and maybe your living depended on that. So it's going to affect you more than a normal person. Most of the people watching this podcast are not influencer content creators. So it's probably not going to affect them mentally as much as it affected you at that time.
Well, I think a lot of people that go to the gym, I might not, this could be completely wrong, but I feel like most people that go to the gym do tie a portion of their self-worth to how they look. And if you look in the mirror and you're like, fuck, I feel like shit, you're kind of going to feel like shit for the rest of the day if you think you look like shit. And something I realized, again, Kieran's, like I said, best friend, older brother, but also like a mentor. And we were going to this party with like billionaires, dog. I'm talking like, fuck, I should not have been there. like I said, I'm fucking, you should not put me in the same room as billionaires. But I was there. And he was like, bro, I'm going to take you to the store and we're going to pick you a nice outfit. And I guarantee you it's going to make you feel more confident when you get there and you're dressed nicely. Bro, I felt fucking fantastic. I turned into a different person. And it was literally tied to the self-worth that you feel when you feel good about the way you look. When I looked in the mirror, I was like, wow, I look better. I've lost 15 pounds. My face looks leaner. These clothes fit me better. I can finally find pants that fit my legs for the first time since I've stopped doing the bodybuilding shit because they're not overly disproportionate to the normal human being. Bro, I felt a lot better. And I think it's literally the way you look correlates to the way you feel and your self-worth. So for me, and maybe a lot of people watching, when I was coming off gear or looking a little worse, or even not working out, I was like, damn, I look like shit. And it would kind of ruin my days where I'd feel like, wow, I'm not who I want to be. Mm-hmm. And instead of thinking, wow, I need to change this and just get back to the basics, it was paralyzing me with paralysis analysis or analysis paralysis, where you're analyzing these things and trying to think of a plan, but you don't fucking do shit. You do nothing with it. And you have this step-by-step plan on how you're going to get to where you want to go.
Right.
But you're so overwhelmed with what plan you're doing that you don't do anything.
That's why it can be really helpful to have a coach.
But yeah, which is why I hired Kyle.
Yeah.
That I wouldn't have been able to do that shit without Kyle. Mm-hmm. I would have been like, I'm going to cut 500 calories from my meal plan a day. Next day, that shit would be back. Mm-hmm. If I was coaching myself. That's how I look at it, at least. Like, I think that's why mentors are important too. Like, I hired a mentor for social media. I hired a mentor. I paid him $10,000 to teach me how to grow and be more effective on social media. I gained 190,000 followers in the last 2 months on Instagram, and using the things he said. Today marks 2 months, and it also marks 190,000 followers gained on Instagram. And it was the best $10,000 I've ever spent. And it's literally, it became mindless. I would just listen to what he said, and it was the same exact thing as bodybuilding goes. Your coach tells you what to eat, when to eat it, when to train, what to train, how to train, when you get your refeeds, when you get a rest. My social media mentor told me when to post, what to post, how to post, what stories to put up, how to engage with my comments, how to respond to DMs, how many to respond to each day, when to take a rest day from posting, when to do bro, fucking cheat code. And now I have, let's say, since I do social media, let's say I can now charge brands an extra $15,000 a month to work with me because I have almost tripled my following. That $10,000 is nothing. That's one brand deal now that I can get because I'm significantly bigger than I was. That was the best $10,000 I've ever spent. And it's because, bro, it's the same thing as bodybuilding. Sometimes having a coach or someone to put things and make it mindless is super beneficial. Mm-hmm. And it allows you to actually mindlessly grow instead of being stuck in the analysis paralysis that I was in, right, where I have this plan, but I can't execute it. Let someone else give you a plan, someone else to give you the shit, and you just do what they tell you to do. Mm-hmm.
I think some people, by the way, some people think social media influencers or content creators make way more than they do, though. I think a lot of generalized population does. Yeah. I think there's actually a lot more of like the top ones make a fuck ton, and then the ones on the bottom don't make as much as you think.
I think it's isolated to 10%. I think like 5 to 10% of people that are like, maybe less, honestly, probably 3% of people that are known through doing social media or whatever make good money. And I feel like the other like 96% or so are kind of fighting for scraps, if that makes sense.
Or at least, just making it by.
Yeah, like kind of efficiently living paycheck to paycheck.
But like nothing special.
It's very comparable to a normal job, I think. I think it
could be,
like a high paying normal job.
Depends obviously a lot per person.
Yeah.
Or if you start your own company and that going, that's nice.
Like I remember when I was at Anaka, I'll just be kind of freely here. I was, by far top seller, thousands of orders a month at Anaka, and I had almost no competition. There were maybe, 20 athletes. I was making up a fat percentage of sales. When it came to athletes, probably over 95%, 90% of what the athlete sales were making. And the rest, like I said, were kind of fighting for scraps. But you'd think certain amount of people would be making X amount of sales because of their following size. Following size has absolutely nothing to do with how much money you make. Nothing. It's negotiation skills, it's actual impact, and it's if people fuck with you. Because I can have 1 million followers and make no money. And I know people with millions of followers that don't make any sales. And I know people with half the following I have that make ridiculous fucking sales. And it's literally, are you the content that you put out versus are you just a face that people see in content? Like you can have millions of followers for, I don't know, fucking car reviews. But if you post a clothing company and you're a car review channel, it's not going to make a fucking difference. I think it's person to person. Like I said, like, yeah, you're right. I think it's the top percentage and everyone else, like they make it by, but it's people think that people are making way more than they're actually making. Like, I feel like if you asked a lot of people, they'd be like, oh, you know, they're making $3 million a year. No, they're not. They're spending their money to make it look like they're making $3 million a year. And they're living this false persona or false facade to sell this image to you that they're making X amount, but they're not making that much money. And then a lot of them end up doing things where it's like, oh, you know, I made this much money from X, Y, and Z. Let me teach you how to do it. But they have no backup on showing you it. Like if someone asked me like, yo, let's say I was taking on a mentorship client and I'm teaching them how to grow on social media and how to monetize a following and how to grow and how to start their own business, do these things. Like I have proof. I have my own sneaker company for reselling shoes. I have 2 TikTok accounts with both over 250,000 and 400 something thousand. My Instagram has like 300 something thousand. Not that numbers matter, but I have actual social proof between sales and running businesses and growing on social media in the last 2 months, that the information I paid for and learned, that I do have enough to back it up. But a lot of these people don't. And they kind of sell you on this, you know, I'm making, you know, X amount of money. Look at my lifestyle. Look what I'm doing. When honestly, the people that kind of don't live super lavish are the ones that are actually making good money. They're more conservative with it. Because if you found out how much they were making, you'd stop supporting them. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think that could be a probable potential possibility. I think it's just always hard to tell. If you feel like any of the medications that we spoke about today may benefit you, such as BPC 157, GH secretagogues such as Tesamorelin, IGF-1, oxandrolone troche, semaglutide, then you can obtain these from Transcend HRT, and the link for that will be in the bio. If you feel like you're experiencing symptoms of low testosterone, such as depression, anxiety, lack of motivation, as well as lack of sex drive, then you can get this checked out as well by getting your blood work done at Transcend, and they will provide you expert medical analysis. Transcend HRT has worked with many professional bodybuilders and pro athletes, such as Thor Bjornsson, Phil Heath, and Jeremy Buendia. And if you feel like this podcast has any relevancy to you, I do believe that this clinic will provide of great benefit to you as well. Gorilla needs to up their taste on their electrolyte packet.
Bro, you got to try.
Huge needs to make some because their tastes are fucking the best.
Rise has good flavors, but I've been going with like an all natural one from like Santa Cruz Medicinals. It's pretty good, bro. I just put it in my bottle of water in the morning. I put like a scoop. Okay. First thing I do when I wake up is like I take my Air One water bottles because it's good for catfishing women. You buy one a week and you just refill it with water from a fucking sink. And then you put a scoop of electrolyte. So I do that and then I drink a coffee.
I'll try it.
It's gas. Bro.
Yeah, the ghost hydration ones were really, really fire though.
Yeah.
Their ocean water is gas. Not sponsored by them. It's just actually gas.
Yeah, bro. Rise is good for all their collabs, bro. They got some crazy shit.
The new huge pre-workout, pina colada, though. Do you like pina colada? Pina colada is my favorite flavor. I think everyone should make a flavor of pina colada for every
even clear whey sup, like clear whey protein.
Probably
pina
not.
Colada.
Probably not whey protein.
I'm gonna hit up Rise and be like, yo, can we do my collab pina colada clear whey?
That'd be crazy. So I got 2 questions that I wanted to ask before, but never got a chance to. We were talking about relationships. And you were talking about going half and half with a woman and stuff. What do you think about a prenup?
I don't think there's a way at all that I would get married without a prenup.
Okay, gotcha.
But I don't think I would ever get married in the legal terminology married in the United States. I don't think the government should be able to have a say in your marriage. I think that if I feel like I'm forced to give you X, Y, and Z, it's going to make me hate you. But if I feel like we've spent all this time together, no, you didn't cheat on me, I didn't cheat on you, we just grew apart, we have kids together, I'm going to want to give you stuff. But if I feel like, hey, yo, this bitch is taking shit from me, fuck you. I don't want to deal with you. I'm not going to want to have a relationship with you after this. We're going to fight over what weekend the kids with who and talk shit with our friends. Like, I don't want to have a messy breakup or a messy divorce if I ever get one or if I ever get married, regardless. But I think that a lot of those things come from feeling like you're almost trapped in a marriage because you feel as if, oh, I can't get divorced because I owe her X, Y, and Z. I'm trapped here because if I leave, she gets half. Or, you know, if she's cheating, I feel like, you know, I almost have to catch her in the act and hire a private investigator in order to get out of giving her half. Right. Where I just feel like if you know, the marriage is done, the marriage is done. Just part ways. You don't have to hate each other. But I feel like the messy divorce process of having of being married in terms of the government and going through all these different things in order to get a divorce, and you're stuck in these, I owe you this, you owe me this, I want this, I want this. Why can't, we're not in love anymore. You didn't cheat on me. I didn't cheat on you. We've just parted ways. If you find someone else, I'll be happy for you. Instead of, this person took half my shit and then they're going with X, Y, and Z, and her new man's is spending the money I gave her. I'm going to tell my kid, yo, your mother's a bitch. Like, no, I think that only negative things come from having a government's hand in your marriage. I think the government wants too much control over everything you do, and they don't do shit in order to actually give you, I'm going to protect you. Okay, you're going to defund the police and then you can't protect me? I'm going to give you, make sure healthcare is affordable. Bro, I'm fucked. The day I turn 26, I'm off my mom's teacher's healthcare. I'm going to be fucked. Gas is fucking $7 in LA. Like, you're not doing shit to really help me. So now you got to put your hands in my marriage as well. You're going to tell my kids X, Y, and Z about this is what you should think. This is what you shouldn't think. Like, you're going to indoctrinate my children on all this shit too. You don't need to have a hand in my marriage. I want to deal with that shit myself. Sorry to go off on a tangent, but conspiracy theorist over here,
Nice.
How do you feel about that? Like, how do you feel about, this is a pretty important year as far as politics go. What's your opinion if you talk about politics at all?
In terms of the marriage, I listened to this doctor on this podcast, and they basically expressed how it was kind of cool because they have like a coaching and a doctor perspective. You could make prenups romantic in a way, but I don't really remember how they explained it. So honestly, this comment is probably useless, but I wish I could even tell you guys.
Maybe I'll look into it.
Actually get some value out of this, but I don't even fucking remember. So I will look it up and try to get back to you, and then hopefully we can post on our stories.
Yeah.
Anyone who actually listens to this podcast, follows our stories, will be able to see it then.
Yeah.
But
how to make a prenup.
It was an interesting
romantic
perspective though. Like they were saying, like, technically you could make a prenup. Like, it doesn't have to be an absolutely unromantic thing, but obviously,
yeah. Because I feel like
I'm
the
curious
idea
about the perspective too, because that would be a nice thing to share with your partner if that's something that you want to do.
I do feel like a prenup is almost like kind of setting you up for failure.
You mean not getting a prenup?
No, both. Either way, not getting it, you're like, oh, why didn't we get it? I should have got it. This bitch could take something from me. Or getting it, and then it's like she's like, oh, this guy's a dick. He doesn't really love me. I feel like I think it's an artificial divide.
I think that's not true. If we're doing this perspective that we're discussing about making it like romantic or something, then I don't think that.
No, yeah, I agree. Anymore. If you do it that way, and there's a way to do it that.
I don't know how though. Obviously,
I would have to look into that if I ever find a girl that puts up with my.
What's your perspective on kids and steroids, especially today?
Fuck, bro. How old are we talking? Like, how old is a kid?
I don't know, but I had like a 16-year-old come up to me and ask me about steroids because he said his friend should get on it. He was at one of the gyms here. I basically had to just give him my honest opinion.
Fuck, bro. I've had the same thing happen to me. And honestly, it makes me feel really bad. It makes me feel really bad because it means that the person, and I could have failed in this in the past, and I'm taking accountability for my actions. I maybe glorified steroids in the past where it's like I probably shouldn't have said these things, or I shouldn't have shared X, Y, and Z about taking gear. And young kids, like, I feel like I make content thinking I'm watching it, a 24-year-old man, not a 16-year-old kid looking for advice. So if I'm saying something about, this did this for me, and maybe I say something positive, which is why I've been very open about coming off of gear and explaining what's been going on for me and the consequences that I've dealt with, which I can go in deeper, all the consequences that I've recently been dealing with as well. Bro, it breaks my heart hearing like 16-year-old kids talk about it because I feel like hopping on steroids young takes the joy out of going to the gym. Like, I remember when I was 16 and a half, I started working out. First day in the gym, I'm getting crushed, like literally choking under a fucking 45-pound plate. Can't move 135. My arms are skinny as fuck. Some dude comes up and literally lifts this fucking plate off my neck as I'm gonna fucking suffocate because my friend's not strong enough to lift it off. And like, bro, there's like beauty in the memories of learning what's going on in the gym and seeing your body progress naturally. Like, I think that like people say, oh, you should wait till you hit your natural potential to get on gear. Shut up. Nobody reaches their natural potential, bro. You reach your natural potential.
I think it depends on your goals.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is like, if somebody's main thing about don't take steroids is you should reach your natural potential before, no. I think you need to assess your goals, whether it's selfish goals. Like, bro, it can be completely selfish goals. You want to be in great fucking shape. You want to be bigger than you think you could possibly get. Or, maybe your genetics suck. Maybe your genetics suck and you just want to try something. It's up to you. But it does truly break my heart hearing like 16-year-olds and 17-year-olds and 18-year-olds saying, oh, I'm getting on gear. Like, I think you should build a natural foundation first. And I think you should genuinely enjoy the process of going to the gym before you decide to hop on something. Because it's almost like speed running a game and putting cheat codes in. Like, you're playing GTA and, you're stealing the cars, you're selling them, you're getting money, whatever it is, you're killing people in the game and you're having a good time, and then you punch in this fucking cheat code, and now you have unlimited money, a helicopter, you can fucking be falling out of the sky and just latch a parachute instead of dying, like whatever it is. I think it's like you're speed running the game and playing. I don't think steroids is cheating because there's no competition. I'm not competing against you. I'm competing against myself. People that are like, oh, you're cheating when you take steroids, like, suck my fucking dick. I'm not cheating, bro.
Unless you're talking about sports.
Unless you're talking about sports or natural bodybuilding, which a bunch of people do, and they claim whatever. It'd be fucking cool if you had a little dial on your head that said if you were on steroids and like you couldn't lie about it. So it said like steroid user on your forehead.
You guys ever seen that reel where it's like you have your body count on your forehead?
Yeah. And the girl like fucking like it didn't change the night after, and the guy's like, and he like peels it and it says like 7,600, and he's like, I thought it was 3, like stupid shit like that. That's kind of like what I think is with steroids. I think the problem is that people think, oh, I'm cheating if I'm taking it, so I don't want to tell people, or they're speed running and taking the enjoyment out of learning and going to the gym and enjoying your younger years. You have a lifetime to take steroids if you want to really take it. If you really want to take steroids, you have a long time that you can, trial and error with bullshit. And, if you want to get that out of the way, it's person to person, but you're going to have to deal with the consequences. Like, I'm dealing with the consequences now. My back broke out terribly when I was on gear and I had to hop on Accutane now. My diet's completely clean. The worst thing I'm eating right now is fucking 2 sweet potato fries I had today. That's it, bro. I had a fucking chicken wrap with fruit, and I got to have fats 2 times a day to take my Accutane with it, and I can't travel as much, and I can't go in the sun. I get sunburned like fucking crazy because your skin's super sensitive. Like, I'm dealing with that.
So this is something I wanted to say earlier in regards to a different topic you're talking about. Like the whole getting girl thing now and building your business later. I think you're never actually going to, I think most men are not actually going to ever get out of the drive of wanting to keep working. So the whole like being happy later on thing, like I don't think that's a thing. I think you have to find that happiness yourself. Yeah. Same thing with taking the gear. Like there's kids who think like, I want to get this right now. Like there's this competition in high schools, in peers. Like I want to gain status. I don't want to feel bottom of the totem pole, whatever. So I want to take gear right now, but it's hard for them to think about how maybe later I might still want to make gains here, or maybe later I might actually want to, I don't know, like maybe actually compete for Mr. Olympia or something. Yeah. So maybe I should do this smarter first. Like it's very easy to just jump in because they think it's a shortcut. But the problem is I don't really think it's that much of a shortcut. Like I think what it is like my belief is that you have so many years that you can take, and as you continuously take it, you do continuously affect your body. You continuously affect the state of your organs. You continuously affect your physical look. So if you affect like your physical look, for example, like say like you have so many hairs on your head, and then you start taking gear. Yeah. And you decide you want to take gear at 16 instead of wait till like you're 22, and then you take gear. And from 16 to 22, you build what? Fucking 6 years of natural muscle. I mean, would you rather be that same amount of bald at 20 years old from taking gear at 16 versus that bald at like 26 years old versus taking gear at 22 when you had a lot more muscle and you probably had less susceptibility to have weird mental effects? I
agree with you. I think the same thing. And I like that you look at it that way, if that makes sense. Like I like your take on it. I think that you articulate it a lot better than me. I tend to speak in absolutes, which is a problem that I've dealt with.
You do.
I definitely do.
But it's a comedian thing.
Yeah. I think that it's kind of who I am, and it's something that obviously I need to get better at, but I do definitely speak in absolutes. I think it's also a social media thing. I think that people like to listen to things that are polarizing. Yeah. And if you can evoke an emotion in someone, it's a lot better for viewer retention. And if you live it for 4 years, bro, you're going to become it. So if I speak in absolutes on social media and I'm like, fat people are disgusting, it doesn't really give myself room to elaborate because I'm speaking in absolutes compared to the way that you talk, where it's like fat people are disgusting if X, Y, and Z, yada, yada, yada. Where you can, like, if they only get that context from me, I'm like, fat people are disgusting. I don't get to say the things that you would say, where it's like, if they're not going to the gym to try to improve and get healthier and trying to make steps to get better and understanding that what they're doing is not healthy, there's the absolutes and then there's the explained, this is my take on it. And I think that I suffer. It's something I need. Like I said, I'm working a lot on self-accountability and growing. Something I need to do less is speaking in absolutes. But social media reinforce it. So it's really hard to break things that are reinforced. Like if your dog jumps up on you and you never stop it, and then one day randomly after your dog's been jumping up on you for 3 years, you're like, get down. The dog's done the same exact thing for the last 3 years. It's hard to change that overnight, which is the same thing with me. With speaking in absolutes, I've done the same thing for so long. It's very hard to stop doing.
So how old are you? Because this is just from experience.
Yeah.
This may not be true for everybody, but I did notice that like gear does not affect me mentally in the same way it did before I was 25.
I'm 24.
You're 24.
Yeah, I'm about to turn 25.
And I don't know. I can't explain any of it, but all I know is like I will take compounds now. For example, like a little bit of halotestin for a show.
Yeah.
I will feel absolutely nothing. No issues whatsoever.
Damn, I wish I
feel
was
completely
you.
fine.
I wish I was
did
you.
Tren for my very first time for this prep. First time. Obviously, I did a really low dosage. It was 100 milligrams a week, up
Yeah.
50 a day. Felt nothing.
Damn.
I don't feel irritable. I don't feel whatever. Like the only thing I feel is low energy from not eating anything. From fucking having like 1900 calories a day from prep.
I think it could be personality based. Just your personality versus mine.
But I had a lot of issues. Like I had emotional problems that I went through and shit like that when I started year before 25. Like when I was doing my pro show or when I got my pro card, like 2023.
I think
afterwards,
I think they say your frontal lobe's not fully developed until you're 25. And I think your frontal lobe controls a lot of your impulse control. I'm not positive on this. I'm just, what comes to my mind is what I think that is. And I think that personally, like I took halotestin for my show. Kyle made me stop after fucking 6 days, bro. I was calling my friends crying, telling them how much they meant to me. I was calling him crying, like, bro, I fucking love you. Like, please never leave me, man. Like, shit like that. I'd see a sad dog video. I was crying to Cars, the movie Cars. Cars 2, to be exact. When Doc, like, dies or some shit, or he flips over, and I'm like, I'm fucking crying, bro. I cried to fucking Marley and Me. I cried to Cars 2. I think I cried to Finding Nemo, like all on a plane. I'm watching these movies. I'm calling Noel Deyzel. He had a hernia surgery and I'm freaking out because I'm like, bro, please don't die. Like he's a good friend of mine, bro. I love that. I love Noel. And it was I kept thinking to myself, he's going to die. I'm like crying, sending him Snapchats like, bro, please don't die. And I told Kyle like how much I loved him too. And Kyle was like, bro, stop taking Halo. You're annoying as fuck. Shut the fuck up. You can't deal with this. And I think it's a maturity thing. I think it's something that I just wasn't ready for it. And I think it's just personality based. Like something I've been working on a lot is controlling my emotions versus letting my emotions control me. And I don't mean emotional as in like crying or being things like that. I'm very like, if I feel confident, I'm ready to go and I'm locked in. If I feel upset, I shut the world off and I don't talk to anyone and I seclude myself. Like what I need to do is instead of allowing my emotions to control me, control my emotions to make me a better person. If I'm angry, utilize that anger in order to be more productive and put it into something positive compared to letting it bring me the other direction where I shut out and I'm like, fuck you, don't talk to me. Instead of fuck you, I'm going to be better than you. It's fuck you, don't talk to me, I'm done. You know, I need to switch. And I think that's just maturity and age. And I think it's something I've been getting a lot better at over the last 6 months. Since the last time I think we did this podcast was around that same time.
I like the perspective of acknowledging your emotions and then because you are aware of it and how you might react to it, changing your reactive response.
It's hard, right? When you lose your train of thought.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was prep brain. But basically like reaction versus response.
Yeah.
Just reverting from being reactive to being more responsive.
Well, I think it's immediate reaction versus calculated reaction, where if something happens and you're able to... It's a term that's
used that's the exact same thing about what you're talking about.
Yeah. I think that's something I've been working on a lot and trying to improve on. And I think not making... The other thing, Kieran pointed this out. Like I said, Kieran's like an older brother, mentor to me. I think it's very important in life to have someone that you can take criticism from, but know that it's coming from a good place. And what Kieran told me is that something he's observed is if there's silence, I feel as if I need to fill that silence. Where it's like if somebody's saying something and let's say the conversation is like quieted, people will give you, or you will give people 30% longer to answer than you feel as if they give you. So I will feel for myself, let's say I'm talking to someone about business or whatever, and we're discussing something, and then there's like, a 30 to 40 second silent period where maybe we're both kind of feeling out what we're going to say next. I feel as if I need to fill that void, but then you're giving that person all of your cards. You're showing all of your cards instead of keeping your cards to yourself and being able to calculate the response that you're doing. One of my weaknesses is that I feel like I need to overshare, or I need to say something in order to fill that quietness. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like reacting versus just instant reaction versus calculated reaction.
Right. What's the youngest age that you've ever heard a kid be on steroids?
14.
Personally, 14. Holy
Yeah.
shit!
I had a kid come up to me in New Jersey saying that he was taking SARMs, and he was like on LGD and RAD or whatever, and he said he found out about it about someone's YouTube channel. It was not mine, but someone's YouTube channel.
Not your kid, huh?
No, not one of mine. But yeah, and I'm not gonna lie. I went home. I told my brother about it. I was like, damn, bro, like that's fucked. Like that kid has no idea that his dick's done growing. His balls are gonna shrivel up. And you're 14. Like, you don't know what the fuck you're doing with, bro. You're literally going through puberty. Like I was just about to turn 22 when I hopped on gear, which was still young. I couldn't imagine the damage that shit would have done to me if I was 14. And like I had people offering me steroids at 17 at my gym. Like I worked out with state troopers, firefighters, ex-cons. Like I worked out in the basement of a gym with literal ex-cons, firefighters, state troopers, like grown ass men. Like I was benching 315 at 17 because I was going to the gym with these guys and they were pushing me and like making me work hard as fuck. It was pretty dope. But like, I'm not going to sit here and say it was the best form of 315 like that. I definitely used my sternum as a trampoline. But bro, I was being offered gear at fucking 17. And a couple of them were like, bro, you don't need that shit. Like, don't listen to them. But bro, I could only imagine the damage I would have done to myself if I started taking that shit at 17, which a lot of people are. But I know people in social media that are on gear at 16, 17, and they're like posting about it, or like not posting about it, but they're on it. And I'm like,
yeah,
that's another thing I hate is like the whole like fake natty shit. I hate that. Like I hate that like you're profiting off of people thinking you're a natural, but you're not a natural. So you're giving these people the idea that they can look like you, but they can't. And already if you're getting paid for social media, you probably look better for most people. You look better than what 99% of the population could look. Like, bro, people can talk about your physique or my physique however much they want, and you look significantly better than me. But when I was on prep, people would be like, oh, you're taking gear to look natural. Dog, I'm 6'1", 210, diced. Like diced. You don't, 99.9% of people couldn't even imagine possibly looking the way I looked when I was on low dose gear. I just have great genetics for it. And people are going to sit here in the comments, oh, you think you have great genetics? You don't. Like, you're a liar. You're lying through your teeth. And people can say the same thing about you, whatever it is. But at the same time, it's all like if you're a fake natural, you're selling the idea that you can look like this to people that could never look like that. And then you're lying to them about what you're even accomplishing as a natural. And I think it kind of fucks the whole mentality. Like back in the day, Gymshark, they wouldn't allow their athletes to talk about being on gear. And like, it was a very hush hush thing. I think that it went into a period where people could talk about it and it was beneficial. And now I think it's gotten to a point where it's way too talked about and detrimental again. I think you need to find that happy medium where if you don't talk about it at all, people are like super uninformed and don't know what's going on and they fuck themselves up. And if you're too open about it and too talking about these things, it leads them in the opposite direction where there's too much information out there and people think they can do X, Y, and Z and get the same side effects as someone else or no side effects the same what someone else did. And then they fuck themselves up. I think we've kind of drifted too far in one direction from being too far in the other. And things need to go back into like the middle ground and be evened out again.
I don't know if it's too much information. I would say more it's just like knowing what to trust.
Yeah.
And
there's too many people talking about it.
Unfortunately, that kind of just comes down to your own judgment. But
yeah.
Hopefully people are well educated enough to make a good judgment on that.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
See.
I agree.
That is what the podcast is for. So hopefully I have like a bunch of different guests and you get a bunch of different like stories and a bunch of different experiences and then everyone can take to what they will, you know?
Yeah.
It's up to them. As far as the gear, what's the craziest cycle that you've heard someone run?
Oh shit, crazy. Oh my God, bro. Probably last week, dog. That shit was crazy.
Last week.
Craziest thing I probably ever heard was like grams of shit, bro. Like a gram of gear, gram of Tren, gram of Primo, like kind of all
Gram
at the
of
same
gear,
time.
you mean gram of test?
Gram at the same time, like gram of test, gram of Tren, gram of Primo. Then they had orals in there. I was like, holy fucking shit, bro. Like you're pinning like a full fucking 3cc syringe. Like each time you pin. Like that's nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I couldn't imagine filling a syringe up.
Do you remember how old the person was?
Bro, like probably like mid-20s. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's been interesting to hear all the
Yeah.
stories of like gear intake from different people, but like
I
what
mean,
I just
you get it from everyone, right? Like, because you're very open about talking about gear, and I'm sure people are super open. Like, I'm very open with you. What I've taken, how it affected me. I'm sure you hear some fucking horror stories.
I hear a lot of things, but what's most interesting, I guess, is that people just don't understand, or it's hard for some people to comprehend that it just affects everybody vastly differently. So you can't compare dosages.
Yeah.
You just can't. You just can't. Like
Yeah.
someone can take like 10 milligrams of Adderall and someone can take 50 milligrams of Adderall, both prescribed for say ADHD or something, and affects them maybe the same, or 10 milligrams affects two people absolutely completely differently. You have TRT doses ranging from anywhere from 100 to 200, sometimes maybe like 75 to even 250.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then why the fuck would you say that 500 milligrams of test has to affect two guys the same?
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing where people ask you like, oh, what should my first cycle be?
So,
and like, they're like, what should my first cycle be? And people are always like 500 test. Bro, 500 test is a lot. If I would have started at 500 test, I would have been fucked. I started at 250 and I went from 185, 190 to like 230 in 6 months.
if I started at 500, I would have been fucked too. I had some weird side effects from like starting at like 250, 300. But a lot of it, some of it
What'd
was
you
like
get? What
estrogen
were your
management.
first side effects when you started?
It wasn't really bad side effects, but I could tell I was just very easily responsive to it. So huge water weight increase.
Yeah.
Weight increase fast, which is good. Got some acne, bloating. I believe I was trying to get my estrogen in range because I had an AIs on hand, but I think it was easy for I was still getting like some gynecomastia symptoms and shit like that. And, some slight mental and emotional symptoms. It's hard for me to recall because it was so many years ago and I have it written in my notes. So like, I would have to pull that out. But as far as what I remember, like how much, say 500 milligrams of test affects me now, managing my hormones in the same place is not the same as 300 milligrams of test like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
You get a better understanding of how things affect you, like what level your estrogen's at affects you, like how responsive maybe your organs are to certain compounds.
Yeah. KST Mario asks, what's his plan on getting back in shape?
Oh shit. I think so. My plan on getting back in shape, I think that unless you have something on the line, it's very hard to stick to things. Like for example, when you're on prep, you have a deadline. If you're going on vacation, you have a deadline. Right now, I don't really have a deadline. So I was like, how can I artificially create a deadline that I need to stick to? I will be giving away my Hummer if I don't get in significantly better shape. I'm not going to say fucking amazing shape because again, I'm natural now. In the next 60 days. So right now I think I have like 55 days left to probably drop 10 to 15 pounds and put on 4 or 5 pounds of muscle.
What?
Yeah. Well, a lot, bro. I haven't worked out for like fucking 6 months. Like I did the 75 hard shit, but like, bro, it's 45-minute workout in the gym. I'd play basketball most days because I just enjoyed playing basketball. Going to the gym without gear is like fucking with a condom on. You don't really feel it.
You're going to drop 10 to 15 pounds in 50 days, you said?
55 days.
55 days? How many weeks is that?
7.
7 roughly?
Yeah. That's 2 pounds a week at the high end.
Are you jumping back on gear? Or are you going to do this naturally?
I'm on HCG.
All right.
My levels are like mid 500s, right?
I know you like to learn from your experiences, but I think you should probably rethink your actual physical fat loss and muscle gain goals. You could probably
I'm shooting for the stars,
but I don't think,
and I'll be happy to land on the moon.
I don't think you should say that. If you don't reach that, then you're going to give away.
You don't think I can 10 pounds? I haven't said the exact amount. I just have to get in significantly better shape. Right now, I'm like 218 pounds. I think I would look significantly better at 208, which is 10 pounds of fat lost. Even if I gain 2 pounds of muscle, which a lot of it's going to be water coming back to my muscles and muscle memory. Not working out seriously at all for almost a year and holding this, I should be able to gain a little bit of muscle back in the next 7 weeks.
I think that the clarification of the whole like water in your muscle, like glycogen as your term muscle gain was super fucking important.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Incredibly fucking important.
Well, that sounds like a cycle.
10 to 15 pounds of fat loss plus 4 pounds of gain.
Yeah.
If you actually meant that.
But you know what I mean, as far as like the looking as if I gained 4 pounds of muscle while like losing. Well, also, bro, losing 10 pounds of fat will make you look like you gained 4 pounds of muscle regardless. Yeah,
but you mean your look though?
My look, yeah. But I genuinely do think like, bro, for me, it's been really hard. Gotcha. Like literally going to the gym without steroids for me now being natural, going to the gym without steroids is like fucking with a condom on. You don't feel it. The pumps aren't the same. The fucking workout, like the is not the same. It's just not. Like I'm in the gym, instead of being like, fuck yeah. It's like,
You went back on HCG, right?
Yeah. My test levels are around like mid 400s, 500.
Oh, nice.
That's the last time I checked. When I hopped on Accutane because obviously my back had broken out from all the side effects that I experienced from gear. And they make you do your blood work all the time. They check your lipid levels. They check everything. Nice. And then I just add a testosterone slip on there. So my testosterone, I think my estrogen was like 35, and my test was like 450 or 500. It was in that range, like 487. I think it was 487. I just get a range though. Like it says like between this range because they do it through fucking Quest.
So it feels great.
Yeah, I feel a lot better.
A lot better than.
I feel a lot better. Okay, that's good. And my nuts are fucking getting bigger, bro. Noticing by the day.
Do your workouts feel better now too?
My workouts feel better, but it's still like hard to want to be in there for a long time. Like 35, 45 minutes is like more than enough for me. Go in, like I'm no longer being like, I'm going to train chest and shoulders and triceps today. No, I'm going in there and I'm like, I'm going to do chest. And maybe I'll add a couple sets of curls in there. I'm going to go in there and do shoulders and maybe add like 2 sets of biceps, 2 sets of triceps, but it's mostly shoulders. It's not like I have the energy to just keep fucking going.
Yeah. On that note, an opinion I want to express myself is I really don't like that part about the fitness industry right now, talking about gear and then discussing fake natties and all these things. That does kind of tend to discourage a lot of people into going to the gym as much.
Yeah.
Like it's just so easy to see how it can just be harder to like want to work hard in the gym because you just don't think you're going to yield.
That's how it feels.
You want.
That's how it feels.
It's just not true, man. Like if I thought that 15 years ago when I started, I would not be this. I would not have gained anything that I loved. I would not be in the place where I enjoy my life every day. Even if I work 14 hours a day, like I still enjoy every hour of it.
Yeah.
Aside from, most of it. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I want to help people not deal with is like getting on gear can most likely be like a lifelong decision. For a lot of people, it ends up being that way. Even if they don't initially say, I'm going to do one cycle. It's never one cycle.
But what I'm saying is like even naturally.
Yeah.
Like how much, so if I started the timeline, gear use maybe like 4 to 5 years. And then I've been lifting for about 16 years.
Yeah.
So
you lifted naturally for like 11 years.
I lifted since I was in middle school, when middle school football conditioning.
I wish when I started there, bro. I wish I started then.
So I guess a majority of my time, 2/3 of my time lifting was spent naturally. And then the last third was spent unnatural. And it was all fucking important, bro.
I agree.
Every single year of it was extremely important for where I am right now. And of course, my perspective is like, when I think about myself, I'm like, I wish I started gear like a little bit sooner and actually did like real cycles a little sooner, because my goal is to be an Olympian, knowing that there's Chris Bumstead, Ramon Dino, and Urs that have all started at an earlier age. But I also know that we're all on our timeline, and I would not be having the platform or anything that I have right now that I love.
Yeah.
If I did.
That's why, like, bro, I wouldn't trade my experience for anything. Like I can say, like I wish I wasn't on gear, which isn't true, man. I'm happy with my decision to have taken gear because it put me in the position that I'm in now. And they say depression is living in the past, anxiety is living in the future, and you'll only truly be happy when you learn to live in the present because you're no longer stressing about things. Bro, it was super easy for me to come on this last podcast and bitch and complain about how I was depressed from X, Y, and Z decision. Bro, like I made my bed, I have to lie in it. If workouts suck right now because I'm not getting the same pumps that I used to and working out doesn't feel the same, and I can tell someone, hey man, don't take gear because you should be more informed. And if you make the decision that I made and then you end up dealing with the same consequences, don't say I didn't warn you, because it's the truth, bro. Getting on gear, coming off, one of the hardest things I've ever done. And also working out just does not feel the same. It's like working out without steroids for me is like having sex with a condom. Having sex with a condom, you don't feel as much. Working out while not on gear versus being on gear, you don't feel as much. And it's not really the same experience. That's just something I have to deal with. That's the decision that I made. So I'm just going to be open about it and be like, hey, this is something I deal with now. Like going to the gym for 45 minutes is hard for me. Because I'm in there and I'm like, this kind of sucks, bro. Like half the time I go in there and I'm just like, I'm going to do a couple sets of pull-ups just to get started. And then once I'm in there and I do a couple sets of pull-ups, I end up finishing the rest of my workout. But a lot of the times I'm sitting there in the fucking parking lot scrolling through Instagram reels and I'm like, I should probably get in there soon, And that's kind of how my plan on getting back in shape is. Like I said, I have 60 days to get in significantly better shape. And if I don't, I have to give away my Hummer. I had to set an artificial timeline for myself, an artificial goal to get to. And losing my Hummer would fucking suck. Right now, as of right now, it's going to Jay Cutler.
I think why? Because
he commented on my video and was like, "Can't wait to get the Hummer." And I was like,
"Oh, nice."
I was like, "All right, Jay, it's yours."
Sick. I really do think that it's now even more undervalued now, just how important diet, training, sleep, all these things are, because it's been oversaid, and I think that's why people talk about it less. And obviously, in this podcast, the whole time we were basically talking about steroids. Not training, not diet, all this stuff that I did want to talk about. Obviously, I wanted to discuss your carnivore diet and all this shit, but now we're out of time.
We can run it back on the next one, bro.
Right.
We'll talk about that first.
But at least our point is discussing like things that we feel are very important about steroid use before anyone starts it, right?
Yeah.
Things that are actually really susceptible to danger. And in training and diet and all these things, luckily, there's not as much danger there.
Yeah.
But I think in today's society, I really do think that kids are really undervaluing how important like a specific training regimen, progressive overload, and really fucking tracking your diet every single day and eating that shit is to like your gains. Like I just think it's like, it's just so undervalued. People think you just jump on gear and gain so much size, but if you're not including the building blocks for the little steroid muscle men to put it in your fucking body, they're not going to have anything to put into muscle.
I agree.
Like they just won't.
I think, bro, you can take as much gear as you want. Unless your diet's in check, you're still going to look like shit. If you eat way too much food and you eat crap, you're going to look like shit. If you eat the right foods in the right amounts and you train and you're on top of your things, regardless of whether you're on steroids or natural, you're going to get great results. Diet is 80 to 90% even. I would say literally training is like 10%. Like I think like, for example,
maybe but
people who don't work out. Training is important. Don't get me wrong. I'm just over exaggerating for the sake of the argument. But those people that don't really work out, they change their diet. They start to look a lot better. It's all calories in, calories out, and the quality of the food that you're eating. Like they said, you can eat 2,000 calories a day, but if you eat 15 grams of protein, you're going to lose muscle. If you eat 2,000 calories a day and you're eating 180 to 200 grams of protein, and that's the ratio size that you need, you're going to keep a lot more muscle because your body doesn't need to eat it off to get those proteins.
That's why I really like Fawad's podcast, because it's not just about how hard you train, it's about how you train. And there's so many different methodologies and ways that you can train, and there's also so many different types of people that respond to different training. So for me, for example, my genetics literally are in accordance to the whole fucking Prometheus shit. I'm responsive to longer time under tension and my type 1 fibers, right? Versus other people who could probably just do 8 reps, 8 reps, and they'll grow from that.
I noticed the same thing when I started working with Kyle. I made significantly more advancements. A lot of his sets are slow paced, tempoed, higher rep. Like Kyle was having me do fucking sets of shoulders that would take me 3 minutes to finish, and my shoulders never looked that fucking good when I was doing high weight, bro.
Do you remember what it was? Exactly.
Yeah, those lateral sets where it was like seated 10 to 15, 10 to 15, standing 10 to 15, 10 to 15, drop the weight, same thing, seated 10 to 15, 10 to 15, stand up 10 to 15, 10 to 15. Like, bro, fucking ass. But my shoulders never looked so fucking good.
Yeah.
I've always struggled to have big shoulders because I have really wide clavicles where like I'm very broad. And then my biceps are very overpowering compared to my tricep and my shoulder because I like training biceps, bro. You don't really see your tricep when you're doing it unless you're looking in the mirror, but you see your bicep when you go like this. Yeah. Girls look at you and they see your bicep. They're not be like, oh, look at his horseshoe tricep. They're not. They're looking at your biceps. When they tell you to flex, they go like this. So I'd always train my biceps. Bro, when I started working with Kyle, he was like, yo, you look like shit here. You look like shit here. You look like shit here. These are the things we're going to do. These are the high reps, high sets, whatever you're doing.
Nice.
Bro, I responded 10 times better than I did before trying to do 8 reps of whatever. So I think I'm the same. High reps, time and attention. Hit me with the next.
I go Bioric asks future collabs again.
Like as far as YouTube goes, so I took 2 months off of YouTube these last 2 months because I've been focusing incredibly on Instagram and just, I think that focusing on one task at a time can really help you hyper analyze and hyper focus on it. And it's proven true. I also think that when it comes to YouTube, when you're in a state of mind that you're not there for that purpose, I don't want to feel like I'm forcing content out and I'm not actually enjoying doing it. Or
I watched one of your YouTube videos recently and I remember you discussing this. So it's good.
Yeah.
Point. I hate to be a douchebag, but do you think you can cut your answers to like 30 seconds?
Yeah. 30 seconds clips. We got it. My bad.
Do you still have an answer for the future collabs?
Oh, whatever comes.
Nice.
Whoever comes. I don't have anything planned.
Devin asks, what is your macro to weight ratio when cutting?
Oh shit. I just eat whatever Kyle tells me to eat. High protein, low fucking carb, a lot of cardio because I'm fat.
Nice. Do you remember what your fat in grams and carbs in grams is?
Grams of carbs, I think on low carb days were like 50 by the end of prep, and in the beginning of prep probably 100, and then high carb days were like 300, and then high carb days in the beginning of prep were like 600-700. And then fats were always pretty moderate between like 30 to 60 grams.
600 to 700, fucking sick.
On a refeed.
You are tall.
Yeah, on a high refeed day.
Daniel Pina asks, what happened to cousin? Do you guys still talk?
Yeah, we still talk. I was talking to cousin the other day. He lives in Dubai. It's like time change. Also, bro, if I were a fucking mega crypto millionaire, I probably wouldn't want to be posting that much either, bro. Like that dude, he kills it in what he does and he's an expert at it. So
Alex Mendoza asks, when we having kids?
Alex, man, 30s. Once I have 10 mil in my bank account. When I have 10 mil, I'll be cool to have a kid.
He's asking when you're having kids with him.
Oh, having a kids with Alex? Never, dog. Unless you pay me.
Tyler Kent asks, what do you do for pre-workout, whether it be food or subs?
I've honestly not taken pre-workout much. I use it very sparingly. Obviously, I'm taking Rise, but for a lot of the times, I'll just have a coffee and electrolytes. And I'll have like honey with a banana and some salt.
Gerald Kenneth asks, how does he keep skin so clear on gear? Is this the Accutane? Has it been helping a lot?
Oh, my back is not clear. My face, I've never had acne on my face, ever.
So is the Accutane not helping?
Accutane's helped a lot with my back. I'm on month like 1.5 to 2 right now. And I'm kind of dealing a little bit with like the purging thing, like randomly out of nowhere. Like I had no acne on my back. And then I think, randomly out of nowhere, I got fucking 4. And I was like, fuck, I thought that shit was working. A lot of it comes down to diet and then just genetics. Like my back gets it. Nowhere else in my body gets any acne.
Are you experiencing any other side effects?
Super dry mouth. Holy shit. Dry mouth and a fuckload of bloody noses. My nose bleeds almost every single day. The inside of my nose feels like I'm a fucking crack whore that has holes in my nose. And I'm just gushing blood. I was doing hip thrusts the other day at Gold's and I fucking humped a fat chick, 315, bro. Boom, bloody nose. I think my super dry lips, thirsty all the time, dry skin, a lot of sunburn, and bloody nose.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're fucking crazy, bro.
I'm sorry, dog.
Joey Latz asks, what was it like hopping off everything and having extremely low test levels?
I think it was a terrible experience, but it was something I needed to go through to truly appreciate what I had gone through and where I am. And I think life's about learning and dealing with consequences of your actions. And it was just something I needed to learn and deal with. I mean, obviously it sucked. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, but I think I needed to go through it.
Nice. I think it is kind of, I know that I thought it was a little crazy that you wanted to just see and test out what it was like to have low tests and just not do HCG and see how long it took. But I mean, then again, everyone likes to do experiments, and I think it's cool that you at least had that experience. Yeah. Now you know how it feels.
Yeah. And I can tell you guys don't fucking do it. Take a PCP.
Redefining Gains asks, does he ever plan on going back to bodybuilding?
I don't want to say no, because I definitely think I will end up doing another show. I'll probably end up getting back on gear for a cycle to do a show, because obviously I can't compete as a natural since I've already taken gear and very openly taken it online. But I don't think it's right now. Maybe 2026, but I don't think 2025, unless it's the end of 2025, will be my year to do a show. I need to be bigger, bro. You're fucking huge. Like, you're massive. You put me and you next to each other on a cut, you're gonna make me look like shit.
You and I are different people and have done totally different things for the last 15 years.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, I'd be competing against people like you, and I'm not competing to lose.
Well, I mean, you're not a pro yet, right?
No.
So probably not.
Yeah.
Hopefully not.
You'd be surprised how many people have your fucking... Bro,
There's some crazy people.
Kyle said it to me, man.
Yeah.
Kyle, I'm sorry to put you on the spot. Kyle said, you will not lose unless a random big-ass black dude shows up. Guess who showed up? 2 6'5", big, bubbly muscle black dudes, and I lost. Sucks, man. I need either some more gear, or I need to ask my dad why he didn't marry, a nice jacked black lady. If I had that genetic trait, that'd be lit. But I don't. Yeah. So it takes more time.
Gotcha. Martin the Rod asks, how's the sneaker reselling business going?
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I started a Discord where I'm teaching people how to do it. It's part of it. I do like prize picks, meme coin trading, fitness stuff, and then like self-help, mastery of your own mind and growing as a person. And then on my sneaker reselling course and teaching people how to do it. It's, to say the least, it's a minimum 6-figure side hustle.
Cole asks, how did one big meal a day work out for you, and how long did you do that specific diet for? Details?
I did it for a month. I was eating anywhere between 1,800 to like 2,600 calories a day. It just depended on like what my activity level was and how hungry I was. After a week, I got completely used to it. Like after a week where I was like, you know what, 7 o'clock's the time that I eat and I'm done whenever that meal's done. I really enjoyed it. I think that if you're not working out, it's fine. But like there'd be days where I'm working out at 4 or 5 o'clock and I haven't eaten since 7 o'clock the last day. That was hard. Mm-hmm. But if you kind of do one small meal, work out, and then one big meal, and it's in, a 6 to 8 hour window where you eat a meal, go to the gym, and then you come home and have your dinner, and you just fast until like 12 to 2. That's what I do now, where I start eating around 12 to 2 o'clock and I stop eating between 6 to 8 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And I work out in between after one meal. That's what's been best for me. But one meal a day, it's good depending on what your lifestyle is.
Yeah, so I did this. I did one meal a day called the Warrior Diet back when I was in high school, the end of high school, and it was really fun and interesting.
Yeah.
I felt like a fucking animal because then at the end of the day, I would just eat a fuck ton of chicken,
ravenous
protein, and just whatever right after my workout. Felt savage. I don't think it was the best idea for obviously long-term gains.
Yeah,
but it did help me stay lean.
Yeah, it definitely helped me.
What was your reason for doing this?
I did it in high school. I did like the one meal a day shit in high school, intermittent fasting until like 6 o'clock at night, eating until 7, and then waking up the next day and doing it. And it helped me lose a lot of weight. And when I was on 75 hard, I was like, how can I, lose the most amount of weight for myself? I thought that it would help me. I also just love experimenting. And I think like when you're young, you have the ability to learn what works for you the best. And I think that personally at that point, I was like, you know what, let me try this. And then I tried carnivore, and then I tried, doing high carb, and then I tried doing higher fats and lower carbs and keeping my protein the same, or the type of cardio that I was doing. I just think that each person is different and you have to find what works for you. So I'm just really trying to narrow down on what works for me and what's able to implement into my daily life.
I wanted this to be the diet podcast, but somehow it was still a steroid podcast.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about diet next time around.
Yeah, we'll do another one.
Last one, Mr. Jason asks, what's one thing you wish you could change in the fitness industry?
This is going to sound super selfish. For a long time, everyone was like, it's so easy to be a fitness influencer. All you have to do is post. All you have to do is do things. And we kind of like laid a blueprint for everyone openly on the internet to do it. And everyone thought, oh, no one's going to do it. No one's going to do it. Bro, that shit backfired hard. Now there's so many fucking people with X amount. They have this code and this shit. And I just think that there's so much stuff on the internet as far as fitness goes that everything just kind of feels regurgitated. So one thing I would change is just making it less people, if I'm being honest. I liked the exclusivity factor in the past that we no longer have now.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, in the end, it's just getting more popular and getting more competition.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think that's what it is. And it's also like, it's kind of taken the enjoyment out of seeing it, because it used to be like, oh, this was my friend, and now I'm seeing them post like, and now it's like there's just so many people that I open Instagram and I get fucking overwhelmed with like, I'm tired of seeing shirtless men. Where's the money? Where's the fast cars? Where are the fucking watches? And where's the fucking booty? And now that I fucking click uninterested in all the booties, I just see where's the fast cars? Where's the nice houses? Like, where's like, bro, it's him. He's rubbing off on me. My Instagram Explore page literally went from just fucking ass and tits and shirtless men to like cars, watches, shoes, nice houses.
Dude,
And
that
money.
shit changes quick, man.
Bro, within like
Literally,
2 days.
yeah, exactly.
You just stop liking booty pics and they just go away. You look at my shit, you think I'm like a fucking 45-year-old rich man.
No, I know it's kind of frustrating because I was having like some nice, wholesome, like mental health posts and shit for a while, and it's back to shirtless men on stage.
What about when you're on prep and you just see all the food pictures, like crazy big burgers?
Lexi sends me a lot of those, so I get enough of those.
I used to force him to eat in front of me. I used to take him to restaurants and order him food and make him eat. I'm like, please eat this fucking sandwich for me. He's like, bro, I just ate dinner. I'm like, please, bro, you don't understand how bad I need this.
I'm not afraid to talk about an issue I have, but sometimes I will chew up something and then spit it out.
I
know you said that.
Do that
You
shit.
said that. You fucking posted something on that last
I used to do that, bro. Bro, when I worked valet, this is so funny. When I worked valet, I used to work weddings and they'd give
It's a
us
disorder.
mad food and there'd be cake and shit. So I would get extra steak and chicken and bring it home. But I'd be there the whole time, like while I'm running to get cars, because I'm doing cardio, running like 6 miles. I would eat Kit Kats, chew them up, spit it in the bush. Take a bite of cake, chew it up, spit it in a napkin, throw it in the garbage. And I got caught one time, like the bride caught my ass. She saw me in the back, like sneaking pieces of cake at the end. And I was like chewing it up and like spitting it in a red solo cup. She came over and like peeked over and she was like, what's in that cup? I was like, nothing. She was like, you know, that's an eating disorder. I was like, and then I kind of giggled at her and she was like, I did the same thing getting ready for my wedding.
Oh, that's funny.
And I was like, bro, we're both just bonding over, like, leave your husband and be with me over our eating disorders, you know? We're bonding.
I have no excuse. I'm going to be like, no, it only happens once a week, but no one's going to fucking believe that anyway, so whatever. Anyways,
Yeah.
that was fucking sick, bro. Where can
Thank you for
everybody find
having
you?
Marco.Spasiano on Instagram, Jack the Italian 2.0 on TikTok, and then one of those two things on YouTube.
Nice. Awesome. Thanks for watching, guys. That was fucking dope. Mark is a real ass motherfucker. I appreciate you for just being transparent about everything.
Bro, thank you for having me on.
mind.
I love your podcast. I love that you love that people talk freely. Like, I think like your podcast is a forum for people to be able to actually talk without feeling like they have to censor what they're saying because someone's going to judge them, if that makes sense.
I appreciate that, especially coming from you.
Yeah.
'Cause I know there was a little bit of annoying fuckers from the last one. Normally.
Yeah, but there is with everything. You know, you put your life online, people are going to judge you. Mm-hmm. That's a consequence you deal with.
Yeah. For everything that you've dealt with, honestly, I feel like you do have a very strong mindset, especially when it comes to like social media. So even though you say you don't, I feel like you do a great job.
Thank you. I
Personally,
appreciate
knowing
that.
you at least. So
Thank you.
Yeah. If you guys would like to support the podcast, you can by rating us a 5-star on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you're finding podcasts, or subscribing to the YouTube channel and click the bell button because it's what gets us sick motherfuckers like this guy. So love you guys.
Thanks
Thanks
guys
for
for
watching
having
again. And yeah, I guess that's it. Peace.
Thank you.
Sick.